Hi everybody, Jennifer Blevins-Smith with Integral Clinic Solutions, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Navigating the Business of Medicine. Today I want to talk about billing for CLIA waived tests. CLIA waived tests are lab tests done in office that are allowed to be done in office if you have a CLIA Certificate of Waiver. A lot of medical offices don't need a full CLIA certificate because the labs you're running are very simple and straightforward. They're usually dipsticks or their results within 5 minutes of putting a little drop of something on a test kit or a test stick and seeing the results. And so those qualify as CLIA waiver. So if you're going to be billing for those kinds of tests that are CLIA waiver, a lot of them require a special modifier on the claim indicating it's a CLIA waived test. Because then what the insurances will do, they'll see the CPT code, they'll look for the modifier, and then they'll see that you have a CLIA number also on the claim, and they will look up your CLIA number and see that you have a CLIA waiver, a certificate of waiver, and they'll say, okay, we can pay them for it because you're staying in your scope and you're staying in the realm of how you should be providing services with those tests. If you're forgetting or missing that modifier, it might say that this is not a CLIA waived test, and they're going to deny it because they'll say that you're not qualified to run that test in your office, and you shouldn't be, and so kind of your penalty in their eyes is they wouldn't pay you for it. It's very important that you're adding the modifier, and the modifier is QW. Now, not all of the rapid tests that you do in your office will require this modifier, but many will. And my suggestion to you is to have your fee schedule set up and your CPT code set up so that the ones that do require the modifier will automatically get applied to the claim once you choose that specific CPT code. So for example, 81003 is a UA code, and it's, if you read the definition and the explanation in the CPT book, it says that it's a test ran with a machine, basically a UA machine, where you put in this specimen and it processes and it spits out kind of like a little receipt looking piece of paper with all of the different elements that it tests for with the results, and you can bill that out. And you need a modifier, QW, on that CPT code to show that it's a CLIA waived test, so you're allowed to do it, because then your CLIA number is a CLIA Certificate of Waiver number, and they'll go, oh, good, and they'll pay you. Now, if you are using a machine or you've purchased machines to use in your office to run tests, the first thing you should be asking the representative who is selling it to you is if it's CLIA waived. And usually they're good about telling you that. They'll ask you if you have a CLIA Certificate of Waiver or if you have a CLIA certificate to be able to run more complicated tests. Now, a lot of urgent cares will have a CLIA certificate because they do tend to run a little bit more complicated tests and labs in-house. But usually primary care, immediate cares, like a little bit lower than an urgent care, OBGYN offices, they're most likely going to have a CLIA of waiver because they don't run super complicated, but they still need to run some in-house tests to give results or no results in order to be able to treat patients depending on the results. So, most likely you need a CLIA Certificate of Waiver if you're a provider having their own practice, but if there's certain tests that you need to run to practice in your office, you need to find out which one you need, because if it's a CLIA certificate, then that's a little bit more of a process of applying for it and getting it and maintaining it, and then having the right information on your claims for that as well. But for CLIA waived tests, the QW modifier most of the time is required. You can can look it up in your CPT book. You can look them up online. I love Google. Dr. Google's great in that situation. And if you're seeing your lab codes getting denied, it's most likely because you're missing a modifier. So make sure that you're looking into that. Also make sure if you're adding those lab codes to your E&M codes on the claim that you have a modifier 25 on those E&M codes so that the insurance knows to look and see that you're billing for other lines of service that are not bundled with that E&M code. So, you know, just a few things about modifiers, but that QW is really important. So CLIA Waived tests most likely will need a QW modifier on that CPT code. Make sure you look it up. Make sure you have the right setup so it can be attached automatically to claims when anybody selects those CPT codes, and then you won't have a problem. If you have any questions or experience with this, please leave that in the comments below. Smash that thumbs up button if today's video was helpful, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Take care of you guys. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.